My family cut me off for a crime I didn't commit. Years later, they begged for my help, but I gave them a taste of their own medicine. I never thought my life would resemble one of those overdramatic soap operas, but reality has a funny way of being stranger than fiction. My name is Emma Caldwell, and the story I'm about to tell you isn't for the faint of heart. It's a tale of betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately, revenge, but not the kind you think. It all began on a frigid December evening 8 years ago, during what should have been a joyous occasion, my younger sister Amelia's engagement party. The Caldwell family estate was alive with glittering lights, the sound of clinking champagne glasses, and the hum of laughter. I stood in the corner, sipping my drink, observing the crowd. "Emma! There you are!" My mother's sharp voice broke through the room like a whip. I turned to see her walking toward me, her heels clicking against the marble floor. "Yes, Mother," I replied, already bracing myself for whatever criticism was coming my way. She narrowed her eyes. "Have you been in Amelia's room?" I frowned, confused. Number why would I be in Amelia's room? Her expression darkened, and she grabbed my wrist, dragging me through the crowd without another word. When we reached Amelia's bedroom, my father, my sister, and even her fiancé were already there. My father held an open jewelry box in his hand, the kind you'd find in a high-end boutique. "What's going on?" I asked, looking around at their tense faces. "Don't play dumb," Amelia snapped, her arms crossed. "My engagement ring is gone, the one Ethan gave me." My heart sank, and I took a step back. "Gone? What do you mean? I don't understand." Amelia pointed an accusatory finger at me. "You're the only one who could have taken it. You were jealous, always have been." "Jealous?" I repeated, stunned. "That's ridiculous. Why would I steal your ring?" "You've been struggling financially," my father cut in, his voice cold and detached. "And your behavior lately has been erratic." I could feel the blood drain from my face. "You think I'd steal from my own sister? From my family?" The accusations piled on, and no matter how much I protested, they wouldn't listen. My mother brought up unrelated mistakes from the past. Amelia sobbed dramatically about how I had ruined her engagement, and my father coldly stated that I was no longer welcome in their home. "Fine," I said, my voice shaking as I turned to leave. "You're making a terrible mistake, but if this is what you believe about me, then I don't want to be part of this family." 8 years passed, and not once did my family reach out to me. Not when I struggled to find a job after being blacklisted by my father's influential friends. Not when I moved into a tiny studio apartment and lived on instant noodles. And certainly not when I built my own business from scratch. A small yet thriving event planning company. Ironically, it was during one of my events, a gala for a charity organization, that I saw my sister again. Amelia, now a socialite with a perfect Instagram life, was there with Ethan. She froze when she saw me, her face a mix of shock and something else. Guilt. "Emma," she said hesitantly, stepping forward. I didn't bother with pleasantries. "Amelia." Before she could say anything more, her phone rang. She glanced at the screen, her expression turning anxious. "It's Mom," she murmured, then looked at me. "She's been trying to reach you." I laughed, the sound bitter. "Oh, now she wants to talk to me?" "Please, Emma, it's serious. Dad had a stroke last month. The business is collapsing. They need your help." 2 weeks later, I found myself standing in the grand foyer of the Caldwell estate. It looked the same, but everything about it felt different. My parents were waiting for me in the living room, both looking older and more fragile than I remembered. "Emma," my mother said, her voice trembling. "Thank you for coming." I didn't reply, letting the silence stretch until she looked away, ashamed. My father cleared his throat. "We were wrong about you. We know that now. Amelia confessed everything. About the ring." I blinked, stunned. "What?" Amelia, who had been hovering in the background, stepped forward. "I lied," she admitted, her eyes brimming with tears. "I thought you'd try to outshine me, like you always did. So I hid the ring and blamed you. I didn't think they'd cut you off like that. I'm so sorry." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. "You're sorry?" I repeated, my voice rising. "Do you have any idea what you did to my life? What you all did?" "Please," my father interjected. "We can't change the past, but we need you now. The business is failing, and you're the only one who can save it." I stared at them, the weight of their desperation sinking in. After years of being ignored, betrayed, and vilified, they wanted me to swoop in and fix their mess? For weeks, I let them believe I was considering their plea. I showed up to meetings, reviewed their financials, and even attended family dinners. But I had a plan of my own. One evening, as we sat in the dining room, my father brought up the progress of the business. "Emma, you've done a remarkable job. I think we're finally turning things around." I smiled, setting down my fork. "Actually, I've decided to withdraw my help." The room fell silent. "What?" my mother gasped, her fork clattering onto her plate. "Emma, you can't just walk away. We're family." I tilted my head, a mirthless smile curling my lips. "Family? That's an interesting choice of words coming from you, Mother. You cut me off without a shred of evidence. You believed the worst of me because it was convenient. That's not what family does." "Emma, please," Amelia interrupted, her voice trembling. "I made a mistake, a terrible one. But you've always been the strong one. You can fix this, like you always do." I turned to her, my gaze icy. "You mean like I fixed the lies you told at school to get out of trouble? Or how I bailed you out when you maxed out your first credit card and didn't want Mom and Dad to find out?" "You're right, Amelia. I was always cleaning up your messes. But this one's on you." "Emma," my father said, his voice unusually soft, almost pleading. "We're not asking you to forgive us. We know we were wrong, and we can't change the past. But if there's anything left of the bond we once had, anything at all, we need you." I laughed bitterly. "The bond we once had? You mean the one you destroyed when you let Amelia's lies turn you against me? I begged you to listen, Dad. I begged all of you. And instead, you left me to fend for myself." "Emma, I was scared," Amelia burst out, tears streaming down her face. "I thought if I admitted the truth back then, you'd hate me forever. I didn't think—" "No, you didn't think," I interrupted sharply. "Not about me. You only thought about yourself. And you were right about one thing, Amelia. I do hate you. But not for the reason you think. I hate you because even now you're crying for yourself, not for what you did to me." "Enough of this," my mother snapped, her composure cracking. "You've made your point, Emma. We were wrong, we're sorry, and we're asking for your help. Can't you put the past behind you for once?" I took a deep breath, letting her words hang in the air. Then I leaned forward, meeting her gaze head-on. "Do you know what it feels like to be completely alone, Mom? To lose everything and have no one to turn to? Because that's what you did to me. And now, you're asking me to save you from the same fate." "Emma," my father said, his voice breaking. "We didn't realize what we were doing to you. We thought we were teaching you a lesson." I laughed, shaking my head. "A lesson? Oh, I learned a lesson all right. I learned that I can't trust any of you, that the people who are supposed to love me the most are the ones who will turn their backs on me the fastest." "We were wrong," my mother said again, her voice barely above a whisper. "Emma, please, you're better than this." "Am I?" I said, standing up from the table. "Maybe I am. Or maybe I've just learned that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away." "You'll regret this," my mother shouted, desperation finally spilling over. "When we're gone, when you're alone, you'll regret this." I turned to look at her, my expression calm and resolute. "No, Mother. I regretted trusting you. I regretted loving you all so much that I couldn't see what you were capable of. But walking away? That's the one thing I'll never regret." As I walked out of the dining room, I heard Amelia sobbing, my father muttering something under his breath, and my mother calling my name one last time. But I didn't stop. I didn't look back. By the time I reached my car, my hands were trembling, and tears blurred my vision. For all the bravado, it hurt, more than I wanted to admit. But as I drove away from the estate, I felt something else too. A profound sense of freedom. For years, I had carried the weight of their betrayal, hoping one day they'd see the truth and apologize. Now, they had. But it wasn't enough. It couldn't be. Later that evening, as I sat on my couch with a glass of wine, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. I opened it to find a single line. "We're sorry, Emma. We'll always love you." I stared at it for a moment before deleting it. It wasn't love that they'd given me. It was conditional approval, contingent on my usefulness to them. And I was done living for their terms. As I set my phone down, I felt a sense of finality wash over me. The Caldwell family might never recover, but neither would I. Not in the way they wanted. I wasn't their savior, and I never would be. I was Emma Caldwell, a survivor, and that, I realized, was enough.